We are recording.
Awesome. It's podcast time.
Because this is a podcast. Let's do it at the beginning.
This is a podcast. This is Creatures of the Night podcast. And you're Wendy.
And you're Chris. Are we going to do that?
No, I just figured I'd mix it up for once.
Yeah, I like that. Every once in a while. Let's call each other by different names too sometimes. Just to be fun.
Sweet.
In case somebody's like, I hate that Chris and Wendy. They're so annoying. And then they tune in and it's like, this is Marie and this is Anne or whatever. Those are terrible names. But
no, that's why I was going to be like Trish and Tina. That Trish and Tina, they're so fun.
And then they're like, good. They changed the girls out, you know?
They still sound an awful lot like Chris and Wendy. And that's weird, though.
Yeah.
Hey, it is a paranormal podcast, so weird shit happens.
Yeah. Like we just got new personalities, or we became possessed.
Yes, that is what happened. That's exactly what happened. Like on one of the past podcasts we did where everything was in Canada and I was possessed because I said that Conan was from Canada, like that. That was not Chris and Wendy. That was Trish and Trina. So
yeah, they're silly. They're silly girls and they think everybody's from Canada, you know?
Yeah.
Anybody that's so nice and tall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right, and tall. I guess we need to start off by maybe saying, oops, we have like a couple of mistakes. By the way, we are people and we do make mistakes just like everybody else out there. I don't know what had possessed me to say that. I didn't research his background. I don't know anything about him other than he's funny as hell. I like him. And he had been on the My Favorite Murder show with our girls, Karen and George. I say our girls as if we're BFF with them.
We are. We're murderinos. It counts.
Exactly. Yeah, it totally counts.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any background check on him. And I guess maybe going forward before I'm just like outright, yeah, he's so-and-so from Witchawat. You know, I should maybe know what the hell I'm talking about. Because you sent me this information. It was like, oh, dude's actually from Massachusetts, which is right around the corner from where I am.
Yeah, and you're usually so good about, like, you know all your hometown peeps, basically. So if they're from Boston, Massachusetts, New England area, you're, like, so proud of them. And then, so when I realized he was from basically outside of Boston, I was like, Chris should be ashamed of herself.
It's just one of those things. I never even knew that, but it is definitely ingrained in my brain now. I'll never forget.
Yeah, we could probably tell his life story now. We had to think about it so much and apologize.
I know.
So he's not Canadian, though there's nothing wrong with being Canadian, but I'm sure he's a proud Massachusetts. What do they call him?
Estonian, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah. That's the only correction that we need to make, right?
For now, I'm sure there'll be plenty I'll have to make up for this podcast. Oh, also, you guys, if you're just tuning in for the first time, we actually record our podcasts way in advance. So that apology should have come a long time ago. But since in our actual world, that podcast had just aired this week, and I'm just realizing that I never went back and made the correction on air for everyone else to hear it. So anyways, as far as I know, that's the only correction I need to make for right now. My biggest oops, but I'm sure I'll make plenty of other mistakes. So maybe just going forward, I'll try to remember to apologize for that right in the beginning.
Yeah. And we'll stop accusing people of being Canadian.
Or maybe we won't. Maybe that's what we'll do from going forward. All of the people we talk about from now on are just Canadian.
Yeah.
Done.
Listen.
No. I'm listening.
Okay. Because I demanded it. No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say there was something else that we wanted to talk about. We're rolling out some new products for the store.
That's so crazy. That's what I was going to tell you. I was like, my brain is so fried from the thousands. I'm certain I have ADHD because I can't stay focused on one thing. I have 8,000 hobbies and 5 jobs. So I spent my whole morning working on some of our products, and that's what I was going to tell you. I was just like, I can't keep up with myself. We're busy businesswomen.
Right. Businesswomen. That Trish and Tina.
No, they're silly. But Chris and Wendy, they're busy businesswomen.
That's my job for tomorrow, is actually working on stuff for the store. So like some of our rollers and our sprays that we're going to be pushing out to the store pretty soon, I'm going to actually be finishing those up, slapping labels on them, and getting pictures for the site.
I'm so excited because you sent me some samples and they smell amazing.
I'm so excited.
I love them so much. If you're not an essential oil person, then you're not going to be into this at all. But I love them. I love all those like natural smells and scents. And did I tell you earlier this week that I put some on before I went to work, and I did not realize I couldn't smell it at first. It wasn't one of ours. It's an old one I had, and I thought, man, this stuff must be drying up or whatever. I can't smell it. So I just kept putting it on and putting it on. And I get to work and I'm in my office and I'm like, oh, I put too much of that on.
How is it that you just smelled it when you got to work? That's the funniest thing.
Because it's cold outside, and then you're in this wide space, and then you go into your little tiny office, and you're like, oh shit, I reek of patchouli. What does that say about me?
That you love the scent of patchouli. It's a nice woodsy one. I do like that too. It's earthy.
Yeah.
You got to really like that sort of thing to douse your whole body in patchouli.
Which is what I did. Nobody commented, but most people I work with are polite, so they're not going to say, damn, you smell like a hippie, man. What have you been doing? So, but yeah, we have a shop. We've talked about it before. It's called the Spirit Emporium. You can find it on Etsy, and you can find it at our creaturesofthenight.paranormal.com website. We sell our products there too. And so we just rolled out some new bath bombs and soap and shower melts. And then we're working on some roll-ons and some bombs. They're not out yet, but hopefully very soon. But what I was working on today, this is for the podcast, though it'll be sold through the Etsy shop as well. Definitely go check it out. We're so excited about our designs that we have put together. They're podcast t-shirts. They've got our logo, I guess you'd say, on it. And then there's a couple of extra t-shirts that are just from titles and stuff that we've said on the podcast that we just find hilarious.
Yeah.
So definitely go check those out. And we'll post some pictures of them too to get you guys all excited, and you'll run there and it'll sell out, and we'll be so excited.
That'd be awesome.
We'll start a little army.
Right. Yeah. Start a little cotton army, Creatures of the Night Paranormal army with our gear. Be sporting that stuff at the airports. Be like, hey, that's my podcast. You'll be like, no, you don't sound like Chris or Wendy or Trish or Trina or whatever. It's because when I'm not on the podcast, I lower my voice when I'm out in public.
So you won't be recognized.
I think it's cool. But hey, since we're talking about podcasts, do you think I should go ahead and start a story up? Would you like to hear one?
What? We're not going to talk for 45 minutes before we start telling a story? I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, the reason why I'm trying to rush it is because this story might take up a little bit of time.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a long one.
It's got to be a good one then. So yeah, hit me with it.
All right, here we go. Every city has some creepy, dark story buried just beneath its foundation, or at least I tend to think so. Chicago is most definitely one of those cities. Known as the Windy City, Chicago has had its fair share of disasters over time. The Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which burned for 3 days, leaving 90,000 Chicago residents homeless, and an estimated death toll of approximately 300 people.
Damn.
I forgot to ask, you are recording, right?
No, I was just enjoying this for myself. Yeah, I'm recording.
All right, so then good. I'll continue.
Good.
In 1915, Chicago had another major disaster when a tour ship capsized, drowning 844 people. This was known as the SS Eastland disaster of 1915. And then there's people like Chicago native John Wayne Gacy. If you're not familiar with that name, Gacy was known as the Killer Clown and was convicted and put to death by lethal injection for sexually assaulting, torturing, and murdering at least 33 teenage boys and young men. I mean, the list could just go on from here, but possibly the mixture of catastrophes and psychopaths have helped bring about the ghostly things that we speak of today when referring to haunted Chicago.
That could fuel that fire for sure.
Yes. Lots of things happened there. The Windy City, to me, it just oozes with paranormal stories. And perhaps another one of those links might be found at the Inglewood Post Office. Well, it hasn't always been a post office. In fact, it rests on the site of a former castle. And although people come and go daily, many are totally unaware of the dark history that lies just below their feet as they purchase money orders or visit their P.O. boxes. On the surface, the post office seems completely uninteresting. So I wouldn't expect for people to be shocked to learn that the basement holds the key to the strange occurrences being reported by postal workers. I think it would be really badass if I had like just a haunted postal worker story to tell you about. But
that would be the best. Just like Harry Potter style letters floating around.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Like if that's where they sorted their mail and ghosts were just fucking with them all the time.
I'm going to change my whole story. That's the way I'm going to go with this. That sounds awesome. I love that story. It's more, what's the word I'm searching for? It's innocent that way.
Yeah.
My story is not so innocent or sweet. The way the story has generally been told is that during the 1893 World's Columbian Exhibition, a very elaborate house turned hotel was being designed for a doctor. A place that many discovered later was a death trap with gas lines throughout used to asphyxiate people in their sleep or not, and chutes that would have been used to dump victims' bodies into the basement where they could later be dissected. Yes, this hotel was built with devious intentions. Without a doubt, the most truly haunted tract of land in unfortunate Inglewood is the small block along 63rd Street where H.H. Holmes once built his castle for murder.
I just caught on to what you were talking about.
Really?
When you started the death hotel and stuff. So wait a minute. There's a post office inside this building now? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I'll tell you later on in the story what happened, but there is a post office there now.
So we can go and we're
post office.
And I mean, we can go to the post office, hang out in the post office. I'm sure they'll love that.
I know, right? They seem like very friendly people there. They just don't sell passports. So
damn, we actually kind of need those.
I need one. So I was like 2 for 1, but nope. I guess I can go in there and just be like, can I get a post office in the basement?
Yeah. Oh my God. Are there P.O. boxes down there?
There?
Please?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
This is amazing, by the way.
Okay, good.
I'm so proud of you for doing this story.
Oh, good. I was like, I just knew because I talk about him all the time, and he's like, his name is all over the place that you'd be like, I have to hear about this guy again.
No, it's really sick of me, but I don't think I can ever get enough about H.H. Holmes. Like, it's fascinating how fucked up this man was. It is. I mean, just the shit that he did to people for so long and how he got away with it is so impressive.
Oh, he was a master of manipulation for sure. And I'm glad that this is one of those stories you can't get enough of because my story is so fucking long. You're going to get like all the information you can get today.
Well, you know, I'm always full of questions. So I'm sure, more information, better for me. Thanks.
Okay, good. All right. So here we go. I've got a good story for you on H.H. Holmes. His name, like I said a second ago, has become a bit of a household name lately. But in order for me to tell my story, I'm going to have to start from the very beginning. So let's go all the way back to when little baby H.H. Holmes was actually known as Herman Webster Mudgett. He was born on May 16th, 1861. He's a Taurus. And was from this cute little town of Gilmanton, New Hampshire. His parents were actually the first English immigrants to the area.
That's right. You went by his house, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
The house he grew up in. I just remembered that, too. Sorry.
It's okay. And I'm not lying when I say the town is cute. We drive through it often when we head to or from Lake Winnipesaukee. It's like right on our route. I mean, we have to take like a tiny detour, but it's totally worth it because I just love taking as many pictures of this man's house. The one that he grew up in. Like, it's just like, I can't get enough. Just like Wendy said earlier, it's like, I want to see more of it. I'm sure that they're like, they are used to the sounds of my car by now. And they're like, yeah, that weird.
There goes that crazy bitch taking pictures again.
Right, exactly. They know the stickers on my car. They know my license plate. They're like, yeah, it's just her.
They're going to start to think you live in the area.
I know. Before the age of 16, Holmes or Herman, whatever, was allegedly being abused by his violent father. Now, he was one of like 5 kids in the house. He was born as the 3rd child, so smack in the middle of everyone else. I don't know if the abuse had been dished out to all of the children in the house or if it was just focused on Herman. Either way, Herman was also said to torture animals, and it's been speculated that he may have even killed an early childhood playmate.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So none of the other kids in the house, to my knowledge, were torturing animals or killing their friends. Oh, and by the time he was 17, he was married. He had a kid too, and he was a CPA. But shortly after his 18th birthday, he was like, yeah, I'm bored with all of this. And he started going to school for medicine and surgery. I mean, he's just like, CPA is kind of a boring job. I don't know how he got into that. But then he's like, I like lifeless bodies better. So I'm going to do that instead. During this time he's going to school, he really started to become an asshole. I wrote that.
I think when he killed his friend and those animals, he was probably a bit of an asshole then too.
Yeah, I can imagine he was a little bit of a prick.
But everybody started to see his assholism.
Yeah, it started to become a little bit clear. Yeah. When he was at that age, his name comes up at this time when I was doing researching on a couple of boys that had mysteriously disappeared. He was questioned, but never convicted of anything. Like, oh yeah, he was here, but he went back home to wherever he was, and that's the last I saw of him. And they were just like, yeah, okay, you're done. That's all we need. So he was never convicted of any of that. Plus, he beat up his wife pretty badly. And to top it off, he was using cadavers from the school and fraudulent insurance claims to collect money. Oh, and he also racked up 2 more wives. Yeah.
That's always totally his jam, is polygamy and insurance fraud. It's like...
That was his jam.
He's so excited about it.
Right. He told them he was divorced, so I guess that made it right?
He was halfway there. I mean, like, I guess he just didn't file the right papers.
Right. No, he didn't. In fact, his first wife actually said, after she'd been beat up pretty badly, she went back home and just kind of lost communication with him. I think she was just kind of like happy to be done with that, and she wasn't looking to contact him anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't think she filed. I'm not sure. If she did, I didn't look into it or whatever. But yeah, she just tried to lose contact with him as quickly as possible.
I do that with people I don't like, so
I know.
I get it. She was just like, let's just forget that happened.
Yep, right, exactly.
And he didn't care because he was ready for a new wife anyways.
Yeah, he totally just was a weirdo. Anyway, going away for school was really kind of like the turning point in his life. After graduation, Holmes fled to Chicago as the insurance companies were starting to catch on to his bullshit schemes. You know, they're like, all these people just keep turning up dead, and he happens to know all about it, and he keeps getting all the money. Let's keep an eye on him. So he's like, peace out, going to Chicago. And in Chicago, he came across Elizabeth S. Holton's drugstore. I almost said Holmes. At the corner of South Wallace Avenue and West 63rd Street in Inglewood. Holton gave Holmes a job, and he proved himself to the store owners by being a good, hardworking employee. See there? What does that tell you? Psychopaths are hard workers.
At manipulating people.
Right. Yeah, he was. He definitely was. He eventually bought the store, but despite many rumors, both of the Holtons remained in Inglewood throughout Holmes's life and survived well into the 20th century. So he didn't kill them.
Oh, that's one of the stories out there, though, isn't it? That he, like, stole the wife away?
Well, that's coming up. There's one of those. But this is one. They basically said that he came in, master manipulated them into giving them the store, and then he got rid of them. But that's not really what happened. He came in, he did manipulate them, I guess, into selling the store to him, and then they just moved on with their lives. I don't know if he liked them or didn't want to, what is it called, dissect their bodies.
I was like, murder?
Yeah, he wasn't really interested. They seemed to be, and I don't know, maybe they were happy with being bought out. They got to move on with their lives and whatever. So then Holmes purchased the empty lot, which was like basically directly across the street from the drugstore. Essentially, what he had done was very strategically locate and purchase a place where he could build his castle that would be close enough to the city center and World Fairgrounds so that he could lure victims to his brand new World's Fair Hotel, which was going on at the time. He began construction on the 2-story building. The original plans called out for apartments on the 2nd floor and retail spaces, including a new drugstore on the 1st floor. When Holmes declined to pay the architects or the steel company, they sued him. Though I'm pretty sure that they still never got paid. Then somehow he managed to contract another company to add a 3rd floor by telling his investors and suppliers, that he had intended to use it as a hotel during the upcoming World's Columbian Exposition, though the hotel portion was never actually completed. On top of swindling his way out of paying for the construction, he also managed to get the place furnished without paying the furniture suppliers. Nice.
He's a genius.
I know.
I want him to swindle me some deals. I mean, yes, he's a murderer. Let's not give him any credit. He's a horrible person. But wouldn't he be a great person to call on when you're trying to like get a car for cheap or something like that?
So much the devil that he'd be like, sure. We can work that up, Wendy, but let's talk about your will first.
Oh,
such a bad dude.
And then my new car explodes and stuff, and I'm like, that's exactly. So weird.
How did this have happened? So the furniture people found out Holmes had been hiding their materials in like the hidden rooms and passages that were laid out throughout the building. The rooms had been soundproofed. There were mazes of hallways, some of which seemed to actually go nowhere, which really kind of reminds me of the Winchester house with all of those stairs that kind of go nowhere.
Yeah.
Many of the rooms were outfitted with chutes that would drop straight down into the basement where Holmes had acid vats, quicklime, and a crematorium set up to quickly dispose of his victims' bodies. And I did read something else, too. I guess the furniture people were trying to come and, like, collect their furniture or whatever, but they couldn't fucking find it. It's because he had it all hiding in those secret passageways. I bet he was like, yeah, all right, well, if you think I've got it, go and get it. And they couldn't find anything in his house. So they're like,
he just did like some Houdini shit on their minds. And he's like, what furniture? I don't have your furniture. Look around. Right. And it's all in hidden spaces. And he lets a few people drop down in the chutes and stuff. Now they can't find Greg or Tommy either. And they're just like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
People are missing now too, along with the furniture. This is not a good place to be. Greg and Tommy, peace brothers. Maybe they'll meet us back at the furniture shop. Maybe they are already gone.
Yeah, maybe they had a call and they got to go.
I mean, it is Chicago. Maybe they're down at the street at the awesome sandwich shop. Who the fuck knows? Let's get the At Mudgett's new drugstore, he required that his employees carry life insurance policies, which would name him as a beneficiary.
Who fell for this shit?
I know, right? They're like, oh, yeah, sure. That makes total sense to me. I have no idea what he said to these people where everybody was on board with it. And I really don't have to spell this out, but ultimately he did that so that he could collect their money after he killed them. But like, I'm sure he was just like, no, man, I just want to do it so that we can distribute the finances however you see fit. I'm your friend. I'm your buddy. Who else would you want to take control of this? A lawyer? Or me.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
like I'll take care of you. They see him as a very intelligible man, I'm sure. So they're like, you don't want somebody else running your finances. Just put me in charge and I'll take care of it. I'll make sure your family gets it. Plus, probably life insurance was a new-ish thing to people. I know it's been around for a long time, but to be so commonly used and stuff, like in the place of employment, where you're signing up for health insurance and life insurance, which they didn't have health insurance, but you know what I mean? I don't think they did, at least. Anyways, he's just selling them on this idea, and then he's like, you don't know nothing about this. I'll take care of it for you. It's great. Then murder.
I know, right? One of Holmes' early murder victims was his mistress, Julia Smythe. She was the wife of Ned Connor, who had moved into Holmes' new building and began working at his pharmacy's jewelry counter. After Connor found out about the affair, he quit his job and moved away, leaving Smythe and her daughter Pearl behind. Like, this man was like, nope, not having anything to do with that. So Smythe gained custody of Pearl, and she stayed at the hotel, continuing on with her relationship with H.H. Holmes, until Smythe found out that she was pregnant. She's preggers, and she demands that they fucking get married, at which point Holmes agrees, though he says the baby's got to go. And he's a pharmacist after all.
Then why get married? Wait a minute.
Right, I know. No, I know. I was thinking the same thing while I was reading this. I'm like, he's already working his magic. And she's just like, yeah, that sounds great. I mean, she must have been like, I don't know how I'll ever run the jewelry counter with a baby strapped at my hip anyway. So, yeah, let's do this. He's going to marry me. So, yes, they went through with it. The abortion was planned for Christmas Eve. Holmes murdered Smythe. Can you imagine?
So wait, he makes her have an abortion and then he murders her too?
It's conflicting, the things that were actually found. He says he overdosed her with chloroform and then later killed little Pearl, but there were other things that came up that said the abortion was it was done terribly wrong, and she died during the abortion. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm
just saying I'm surprised that he would have some kind of, well, I can't kill a baby, so you've got to go get an abortion, and then kills her afterwards anyway. So he could have just murdered them both. He seems like such a horrible person that he would be fine with that. Yep. But
the only reason why I don't agree with the abortion going bad is because he seems to be more into just killing people. He's not really like Jack the Ripper. He's not like, let's open you up and see what's going on. He's like, yeah, I just want to kill people. I just want to kill people. I don't care how we do it. Let's just kill you. So I tend to lean towards the chloroforming her and all of that being gone after she like signed away all the money to him, rather than him actually, doing real digging dirty work. Now I know that there's other stories about things that he did down in his like torture basement or whatever. I'm just going on kind of off of the things that have a lot of support, because he was said to have killed like 200 people, but later on they said it's only confirmed 9 that he's actually killed.
Insane.
It goes from there to here. I mean, there were people that went missing, never heard from again. And at the same time, we already know that he's in with the insurance claims and he's selling cadavers back to the medical places. So, I mean, it's not really for sure what he did with all of these victims or all of these people. And it's also not really sure that all of those victims were his. So I didn't clear anything up for you, and the story won't either. I'm just
no, but it was in a time and an era where that would be easily like confused.
Yeah,
you find out there's this mass murderer in town, and so now your loved one has been missing. So they went there once in this building, or could have associated with this person. You want some resolution, and so a lot of names get put on him that might not be, but
true.
He murdered more than 9 people too.
Right.
So.
You don't just build a murder castle and only get away with 9 murders. I mean,
no, that's lazy. I mean, like there were more than 9 rooms, and you did this for how long? So you don't
all right.
go through all that effort for such a little reward.
Right. Exactly. I don't know. I don't really know how like close he was to Smythe. I do know that he's a dark, devious person, so killing her was definitely something that was going to come up at one point or another. How it actually happened, I don't have the actual confirmed details, but it said that chloroform was used to kill her. A tenant actually confronted him at one point. Hey man, where's Julia and Pearl? Like, what happened to them? And Holmes was like, oh, they left to go to Iowa to attend a family wedding, and then they just never fucking came back.
Whoa, you would think like such a good liar would have a better lie.
Iowa's such an awesome place. They just went to Iowa and they're just like, man.
Or he just blamed it on Iowa. He was like, they went there and they just never came back. I mean, like maybe people did believe that. We would. Oh, fuck.
Well,
I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, Iowa's definitely a scary place. If you haven't listened to our podcast before.
Exactly. We're not dissing Iowa. It's scary. That's what we're talking about.
Right. We only went for the haunted, scary stuff anyways, and boy, did we get it.
Oh, they got it. They got it all throughout there.
Definitely do. So another one of Holmes's victims, her name was Emmeline Segrand or Segrande. I don't know. It didn't have like the little accent over the ending E, so I guess it's just Segrand. She began working in the building in May of 1892 and disappeared that December. Also, Edna Van Tassel is believed to have been another of Holmes's victims, as she too was among those that seemed to just vanish without a fucking trace that year. Boop. She worked there and she's gone.
With a life insurance policy to him. I'm sure.
Yeah, right, exactly. And he got paid. While working excuse me for just interjecting this. I have to put this in here because this is how he became known with this other guy, but I don't have so he is working in this chemical bank building on Dearborn Street. I don't know the details why he was there at the chemical bank working. I don't know if that has something to do with him being the pharmacist and he's like, working on medications or whatever, or if he's just collecting, strychnine and whatever else, chloroform. I don't really know. But he was working there, and he met and became super close best friends with this guy named Benjamin Peitzel, I think. It might be Peitzel. I don't know. It's Pitzel. So have at it however you want. Benjamin Peitzel was a carpenter with a criminal past who was exhibiting in the same building a coal bin that he had invented. So he was crafty. I don't know. He was an inventor. More than crafty.
Okay. Okay.
This was Etsy before Etsy was around. He's making coal bins. So Holmes picked up on him. They became super BFF. And then Holmes molded Mr. Peitzel into becoming his little pet. He became his right-hand man for several criminal schemes, and even the DA later described Peitzel as Holmes's tool, his creature. What a thing to say about it. I know, right?
That poor dude.
Oh, it's bad.
He was like, I'm his sidekick. No. And they're like, you're his pet, motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's 100% in charge, not a sidekick.
Right. I think he felt that way, though. Holmes lifted him up and made him feel like he was super important. I mean, it seems like that was his MO. He was just going around telling everybody that. All these women that were just like, oh, yeah. Here's my life insurance, whatever. You're my to-be forever. So in early 1893, Minnie Williams moved to Chicago. Although Holmes claimed to have met her in an employment office, there were rumors he had met her in Boston years before. I don't know. He offered her a job at the hotel as his personal stenographer, I guess because he was just so busy. And she accepted because, shit, why not? It's a job. Holmes went to work on her quickly and persuaded Williams to transfer the deed of her property in Fort Worth, Texas, to a man named Alexander Bond, which, by the way, is also fucking H.H. Holmes.
Wow. Like, I want to sit in on this conversation between him and her.
I would have too, because you know what she fucking did? She transferred the deed just as Holmes asked.
Yeah, she just, whatever you say.
Right. I couldn't imagine, like, if he was selling it to her as some way for her to make money or something, for her to just be like, yeah, okay, we're going to do this, like a pyramid scheme or something. I'd really like to know what his story was to have gotten that property out from underneath her. But, okay, so she transferred the deed just as Holmes asked, and Holmes actually served as the notary. Of course.
That's what I'm getting at. So he got her to transfer her property, but to an unknown person who's actually him. Then he also is the notary. I mean, it's like she never is even connecting the dots.
No, I think that they made up so many laws because of what this man did. That's why, like, the notary public stamp has to, like, be a specific, exact symbol, and it's got to emboss the paper. Like, I think they're just like, oh, okay, so anyone can just sign as a notary. Yeah, we're going to have to make this an official thing. Let's get a document going. They have to actually have credentials. You can't just sign and be a notary. I bet that's what he did. He's like, oh, and I'm a notary. Here we go. I'm do. And it's done. Back then, they didn't fucking care.
No, he found all the little flaws in legal documentation for insurance and property transfers or whatever, any way that he can make money. And then the way out of it to collect is to murder everybody.
Right, I know. I would say he would have been a great lawyer, but apparently
lawyers shouldn't murder people either, though.
They should not murder people.
No, I think he just made a great murderer. You'd be a smarter individual if you could figure out how to swindle people without murdering them.
Right. Like lawyers do, typically.
Exactly. So you're right. Like a lawyer, but lawyers are smarter because they don't have to end up murdering people in the end. And that's what he had to do. And that's an easy way out.
Right. The problem is here, he enjoyed murdering people. And I think the money was just a way for him to continue on with the murder. I mean, I think if we lived in times where money wasn't even important, he clearly would have still been murdering. He would have found another way to, like, I don't know, salt. Salt mines were big at one point in time. He would have just been like murdering people for salt or whatever, because this was his thing. He just loved murdering people so much.
Like, it wasn't about the money for him, but to make it justified he's like, before I murder this person, which I'm planning on doing anyways, I could get all their money. Or not even their money, the insurance money.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, but I mean, this is another thing. Like, Forensic Files built their whole show based on shit that happened just like this. Like, if that show was around when H.H. Holmes was, can you imagine, like, following this dude with his, like, I don't even know what it's called. I did plan on finding out the name of that style of mustache. I don't think it's a handlebar, because I think those are like a different, but it was a full on, like, bulky, like almost like as if two rats were kind of laying on his upper lip.
It's a very thick stash.
Yes,
but
it is a thick stash.
I wouldn't. It's not handlebars because it doesn't go all the way down.
Right,
but it's very like, prominent. And then the bowler hat, like you can never wash the image of H.H. Holmes out of your head, and that infamous, like, kind of vision of him. Yeah.
That dead, glazed over stare that he's got with that fucking hat. I mean, honestly, he looks like a small guy because the hat is huge, and so is the mustache. It just kind of overwhelms his whole face.
It's such a blank stare.
Yeah, it's a blank stare for sure. I don't know what else to say about him. He was a monster, but if you, like you said, if that image isn't a very haunting image, but it's one that is definitely burned into your memory. As soon as you see his face, you will never forget it. Almost like Stephen King books. Once you hear them, it's like, damn, that was a haunting novel. But anyways, back to my story. The next month, Holmes and Williams, her name was Minnie Williams. I don't know how much of that you're going to edit out, but she was the one that moved to Chicago, got the stenographer job. I'm just reminding you. We took a little break there. The next month, Holmes and Williams, presenting themselves as man and wife, rented an apartment in Chicago's Lincoln Park. Minnie's sister, Nanny, isn't that cute? Minnie and Nanny came to visit them. I know, I love them. I bet they were adorable. She came to visit, and in July, she wrote to her aunt that she planned to accompany Brother Harry to Europe. Neither Minnie nor Nanny were seen alive after July 5th, 1893. And we're done with them. Gone and gone.
Why? Why the sister too? What an ass.
Yeah, right? It was just about his game, man. He was just so into murdering.
Also, like, leave no trace, man. So the sister was probably part of some kind of conversations or whatever, would have put up a stank or concern, or so he took care of that. But
yeah, if she had never come to visit, she probably would have still been alive. So the insurance companies are starting to get wind of his bullshit again.
I wonder how many deaths it takes for them to be like, hey. I've seen this H.H. Holmes name 6 times already, collecting.
He just knows everybody. They all keep, man, what a lucky guy. Number 4, number 5. Wait a second.
Hopefully they don't say what a lucky guy.
Yeah, right? Because he keeps getting all the money. That's why I'm saying that. But
yeah, I know. But, like, insurance companies have no heart. But
right.
You hope they're a little like, oh, poor thing. Wait, this is the same beneficiary.
Yeah, I would assume that it would have to have been like the same person working on that insurance claim, because if there's like 100 people, how would they have caught on so quickly? They didn't have like a database back in 1890. Well, I'm sure they did, but I'm sure it's all paper. It's a filing system. It's not like...
So some chick walked over to the filing cabinet and she's putting it in. And she's like, fuck, this file is big. We keep sending... Wait a minute. Did we just send 8 checks to this dude?
Right, exactly. I love that, the mental image of, fuck, this file is huge.
You're right about it not connecting, and so I imagine it takes multiple people in the office working different claims, and that's why it takes so long to catch on. Is because they're not communicating the information. The same as where he was doing this in one part of the country, so he just moves to a different part when they start to catch on, because they're not going to talk to each other. So
exactly.
They don't know that he was doing that already out in New England.
Sure, exactly. I mean, you hear stories about that with cops that did the same thing with the case of like the Zodiac. It was in the same fucking town, I think, in California, right? Or 2 different towns in California. And those police departments didn't communicate back then. Yeah. And that was in what, the 50s, the 60s? So we're talking 1800s for H.H. Holmes, clearly. they weren't communicating that sort of thing for insurance back then. But you would think that they would actually have been a little bit more hip to that. Well, I guess, okay, so finally they did come around to something was going on with him because they were pressing to prosecute him. And in 1894, he pieced out of Chicago. He then reappeared in Fort Worth, Texas, where he had inherited a sweet piece of property. Right. Of course. Yeah, you remembered that. I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, oh, damn, he had this set up. It was almost as if he planned that. Like, I've got this place just in case.
His exit strategy. Yeah, yep. Man. God, he's fucking smart.
I know. So in Fort Worth, he sought to construct another castle along the same lines as his Chicago operation. Once again, swindling a number of suppliers. Why not? It worked first time.
Then this guy's got a thing for castles.
Murder castles, yeah.
Murder castles, yes. I was going to say castles and murder, but you're right. Murder castles.
It just makes things easier for him. He's just like, yeah, push you down the chute, and a vat of acid, or in a vat of acid.
I'd like to murder people, but I want to do it in a castle.
Right. So at least if you have the murder castle with like the mousetrap layout, you just open up the door and the guy just falls down and whatever. In that same year, Holmes was arrested and briefly incarcerated for the first time. And the charge was for selling mortgaged goods in St. Louis, Missouri. A whole nother fucking scheme that he was working on at the same time. He was a multitasking psychopath.
I was going to say that's what I am. That's what I feel like sometimes, but I don't murder people, I promise.
But surprisingly enough, he had the money to bail himself out. Where did all that money come from? Anyways, while
from the
he
200
was in
dead people.
Right, exactly. While he was in jail, he struck up a conversation with a convict outlaw named Marion Hedgepath, who was serving a 25-year sentence. I don't know what for. I didn't look him up. Holmes had concocted a plan to swindle an insurance company, can you believe that, out of $10,000. The $10,000 is the equivalent to $290,000 as of last year. That's a lot of fucking money. And what the concocted plan was to basically take an insurance policy out on himself and then fake his own death. Holmes promised Hedgepath a $500 commission, which must have been pretty fucking sweet since $10,000 back then was the equivalent to $290,000. So that guy was like, yes, sir. All I have to do is find you a lawyer that can be trusted. Got you one. I got you like 10 of them. Can I get more money? Holmes was directed to a young St. Louis attorney named Jephthah Howe. And even though he thought the scheme was brilliant, the insurance company became suspicious and refused to pay.
They are getting smarter.
I think his name is getting around. So at this point, Holmes decided not to press the claim that he was making. Instead, he concocted another plan.
He's not going to give up that easily.
Oh, no. He's definitely not. What is that called? He's not a quitter. He's definitely not
lifelong goal. Fuck over the insurance company. Got it.
Right. I wonder what they did to him in his like young adolescence that he's just like, I'm going after these motherfuckers for life. So anyways, he concocted a similar plan with Peitzel. Peitzel agreed to fake his own death so that his wife could collect a $10,000 life insurance policy, which she was to split between Holmes and Jephthah Howe. I guess this guy was still on board with this brilliant scheme. So he had to collect some money too. The scheme, which was to take place in Philadelphia, called for Peitzel to set himself up as an inventor under the name B.F. Perry, and then be killed and disfigured in a lab explosion. Holmes was to find an appropriate cadaver to play the role of Peitzel. But why go through all that fucking trouble? Holmes decided to kill Peitzel by knocking him unconscious with the chloroform and setting his body on fire with benzene. I told you the man just loved to kill people. He's just like, why find somebody that looks like you, man? I'll just kill you. I mean, that was his thing.
I wonder if he thought about it when he first met him. He's like, I'm going to kill you one day. Can't wait.
I wonder. It's going to be the best day ever. I wonder if that was like his thing. Every time he met somebody, that's when
That's
he
all
decided.
he envisioned is like how he's going to end this.
Yeah. This one was a weird one. So like when Holmes, in his confession, he implied that Peitzel was actually still alive after he used chloroform on him prior to being set on fire. But they did some forensics back then. I can't imagine what the forensics of the 1890s was like. But they decided that he didn't actually put chloroform on him until after the guy was dead, and that they had deduced that they put chloroform on him just in case shit got turned around and started pointing back at Holmes. Like maybe this wasn't really a suicide, maybe this was a murder. So he actually, like, I think it was after the fact, he put the chloroform on the man as a way. I guess back then they could tell that he hadn't breathed it in. I have no idea how they were able to tell that, but they just were able to tell that he had put the chloroform on him after he was actually dead. So even at this point, he confessed to killing him, but his confession was bullshit. He was just like, he was still alive after I used chloroform on him prior to being set on fire.
He just can't stop lying, or I don't get it.
I think for him, because he's such a whack job, it was way more interesting for him to think that he had witnessed him actually dying that way than the way that it actually happened. So that's why he said it that way. I guess. I don't know.
That does make sense, but what a fucking weirdo.
Right? Total weirdo. So Holmes proceeded to collect the insurance payout on the basis of the genuine Peitzel corpse because, he was totally dead. Holmes then went on to manipulate Peitzel's unsuspecting wife into allowing 3 of her 5 children, Alice, Nellie, and Howard, to be in his custody. The eldest daughter and the baby remained with Mrs. Peitzel. Holmes and the 3 Peitzel children traveled throughout the northern United States and into Canada. Simultaneously, he escorted Mrs. Peitzel along a parallel route, and all while using various aliases and lying to Mrs. Peitzel concerning her husband's death, basically claiming that he was hiding out in London, as well as lying to her about the true whereabouts of her 3 missing children.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, she would give her fucking children to him after he murdered her husband and stuff. But okay, so he's like, that's not really him. Don't worry about it. Remember our whole plan? He's like somewhere else right now, and that's why she gave her children up.
Right,
and then,
exactly.
Of course, he's not babysitting these kids. So
no, he's definitely not doing that. In Detroit, just prior to entering Canada, they were only separated by a few blocks, meaning Holmes and Mrs. Peitzel. And in even more audacious move, Holmes was staying at another location with his wife, who was completely unaware of this whole thing.
Wait. What wife? Which wife? I mean,
number 3, I guess. I didn't even bother writing down their names.
I forgot he had a wife at this point.
I know, right?
Like a current wife.
Yeah, a current wife. She's just like, how is work, honey? He comes home, and he's been like pretty much gallivanting all day, lying to this one woman, murdering people, and he's like, oh, the pharmacy. Whew, what a day. I had to do this and that for old Bobby Jenkins, and you know how Bobby Jenkins is. Whew.
Well, he's got the croup again,
Right.
Just, whatever.
He's like, honey, get me the wax for my mustache. It's getting all fuzzy again.
He definitely waxed that mustache, though.
Oh, my God. Sure. With that beast, he had to.
Yeah. There's got to be some maintaining going on there.
Yeah. So a second ago, you said something about the babysitting. He later confessed to murdering Alice and Nellie by forcing them into a large trunk, locking them inside. He drilled a hole in the lid of the trunk and put one end of a hose through the hole, attaching the other end to a gas line to asphyxiate the girls.
So he has a problem with murdering children, though.
He has a problem with, murdering. He's just like...
I mean, he has a problem with murder. Like, he shouldn't be murdering people, but I think he has a hard time murdering children.
Maybe. Holmes buried their nude bodies in the cellar of his rental house at 16 St. Vincent Street in Toronto. Just next time you're in Canada. Keep that
writing it down.
Frank Geyer a Philadelphia police detective assigned to investigate Holmes and find the 3 missing children found their decomposed bodies of the 2 Peitzel girls in the cellar of the Toronto home. Detective Geyer wrote, I don't know if you want to hear this.
I probably don't, but you're going to tell me anyways. So
bad. The deeper we dug, the more horrible the odor became. And when we reached the depth of 3 feet, we discovered what appeared to be the bone of the forearm of a human being.
Oh, he didn't even go the normal 6 feet down? What a dick.
Nope.
Like,
right,
that's
exactly.
going to wash up eventually or something.
He's just such a dick. You're right. No, but they weren't in the chest or the trunk anymore. He'd actually pulled them out of the trunk and then buried their nude bodies. So, I mean, like, what did he do with the trunk? He's just like, I'm keeping that. That worked out great. I mean,
just patch that hole, honey, and put all the slippers and pajamas in there.
Right. He gets home to his wife, and after he waxes his mustache, he's like, how did this hole get in my favorite trunk? I need to put my hats in here. Now the moths are going to get to them. Oh. And he's like, you don't have to worry about the moths, bitch.
That's not funny, but it's funny.
No, but so then Gary and
Tommy are back?
I got so confused because Indianapolis and the guy's name was Geyer that I'm just going straight to demons. Anyways, Geyer then went to Indianapolis where Holmes had rented probably a cute little cottage. Holmes was reported to have visited a local pharmacy to purchase the drugs which he used to kill Howard. If you'll remember, this was one of the kids because he had 3 of them.
Yeah.
So he bought these drugs to kill Howard and a repair shop to sharpen the knives he used to chop up the body before he burned it.
Damn. Like,
fucked up to this kid.
It's just so different from what he did to the girls, you know?
Right. I think maybe that was how he felt. So, like with all of the women earlier on, it seemed like he was killing them with asphyxiation or chloroform or whatever. Bodies of boys went missing. And this is one of them that would have gone missing had this guy, Frank Geyer, not gone investigating because he found bits of teeth and bits of bones in the chimney of this cottage. So this boy was going to go missing too. But we kind of know what he did to him loosely, you know. I mean, we don't know what he did to him. We just know how he ended.
End result, yeah.
That's the end result.
Horrible.
I know. So Holmes's murder spree finally ended when he was arrested in Boston on November 17th, 1894. He was held on an outstanding warrant for horse theft in Texas, as the authorities had become more suspicious at that point. I can't imagine. This motherfucker was stealing horses too? How did he have time?
And that they give a shit more about that than all the people disappearing?
Hold on, though. I think that was a technique. Yeah, they were holding him on that, but I think that's just what they were fucking spewing to him. You were just looking into this horse theft, you know, to keep him calm.
I got you. Yeah. Like, so you could totally get out of this type thing. Possibly. It's not a big deal. And then they're like, oh, you're a murderer. We know it.
Right. They were still trying to build their case. I wonder how long it took them in 1894 to, like, you know, keep someone there on a horse theft case while they're actually collecting evidence, because they didn't have cell phones. They couldn't look at Boy's Facebook page and be like, oh, no, he's totally associating with all them. I see him on here. Because that's how they do it now on, the first 48? They didn't have that back then.
No, but they could also they had less liability in a sense, I guess you would say, in holding people. They can be like, we think you're a criminal. We're fucking holding you.
Right,
and it's like, okay. I mean, like, there wasn't as many laws to protect them in how they were treated once they were considered breaking some kind of law. I would think, at least. Yeah. I didn't live then.
Following the discovery of Alice and Nellie's bodies in July of 1895, Chicago police and reporters began investigating Holmes's building in Inglewood, now locally referred to as the Castle. Though many sensational claims were made, they couldn't find anything there to actually convict Holmes of, probably because they were all gone. He had cleaned up before he pieced out of Chicago. He probably knew that they were coming for him, but they couldn't find anything there at the castle. So, October 1895, Holmes was put on trial for the murder of Benjamin Peitzel and was found guilty and sentenced to death. By then, it was evident Holmes had also murdered the Peitzel children. Following his conviction, Holmes confessed to 27 murders in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto. Holmes was paid, get this, he was paid $7,500, which is worth about $226,000 today, by the Hearst newspapers in exchange for his confession, which was quickly found to be bullshit.
So he's working them too.
Yes.
They're like, this fucker likes money, so I think for money he might tell us the story. So they offer it up to him, and he's like, sure, motherfucker, I'll tell you something. And he just makes up some story.
He sure did. He went and just blah, 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 blah. He gave them names, people that he had murdered, which were still alive and well. So they couldn't even publish his story. So Holmes gave various contradictory accounts of life, initially claiming that he was innocent, and then later that he was possessed by Satan.
Oh, he is. I'm not sure that that's a falsehood.
No, I wonder if he just decided that while he was in prison, or if he knew that all along. I wonder at what point this actually came to him, and he was like, I'm Satan. So he told them.
No, that really is him just being silly. There's something definitely wrong with this motherfucker. But now he's trying to blame it on religious purposes so that everybody would kind of feel like he could be cleansed of it and repaired.
Or feared.
Oh, that too, I guess. Yeah, if he's wanting to go to the extreme.
While writing his confessions in prison, Holmes mentioned how drastically his facial appearance had changed since he was in prison. He described his new grim appearance as gruesome and taking a satanical cast. He wrote as he was now convinced that after everything that he had done, he was beginning to resemble the devil. Yeah.
Okay. I'd never heard this stuff.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I found something, too, that I'll read you a little bit later. I'd never heard that before either. So, on May 7th, 1896, I love how, a lot of things are in May for him. His birthday, all these murders. I don't know. Seems to like May. Oh, but he probably didn't like this one because he was hanged at the Philadelphia County Prison. Until the moment of his death, I'm going to try and make this as dramatic as possible, Holmes remained calm and amiable, showing very few signs of fear, anxiety, or depression. Despite this, he asked for his coffin to be contained in cement and buried 10 feet deep because he was concerned grave robbers would steal his body and use it for dissection. Holmes's neck did not snap. He instead was strangled to death slowly, twitching for over 15 minutes before he was pronounced dead. I don't think if he was Satan, it would have taken him that long. He'd be like, this sucks. Click.
No, I think the suffering is more Satan's idea of fun than anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that he made him suffer. That's why he made his neck not snap, and that he had to suffer for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah. So if I would envision Satan as a real entity, I'm not saying I don't, I'm just saying if you want to cartoon it out, draw it, then his idea of fun, even to loyal subjects, is to make them suffer. So you work for me, but you will still have a horrible, painful death. That's our thing, Right. If it was quick and easy, that would be too good for you. That would be a blessing, probably. So we're going to make this painful. We like pain. That type of thing. That's how I would envision it. I really have no clue.
No, I agree with you, and I personally prefer the fact that he suffered. I mean,
yeah,
he doesn't get that a chance to choose, since he's murdered people that, he took their lives.
They shouldn't have put his body in concrete either, and I would kind of like to hear that they didn't, because they were like, yeah, okay, motherfucker. Nope. No, we're not sparing any fucking expense for you. They can dig up your fucking body if they want and do whatever the fuck they want with it, because at this point, the public deserves to do whatever they want with you.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because in 2017, Holmes's body was exhumed for testing because of the rumors that he had escaped execution.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, the fact that he got his wish to be buried underneath cement. Did you read or hear any about this as it was going on?
No, you did. I did not know that about him.
My God. Yeah, I totally was following the whole thing. I was super crazy about this. I can't believe they're fucking digging him up. They dug him up. Pretty wild hearing about this. It was kind of like my Super Bowl. So his coffin was finally uncovered after they made it through the thick layers of cement. So actually they dug down and they found a coffin, and they opened up the coffin and it's empty. And they're like, what the fuck? So grave robbers, whatever. And they kept digging. They found the cement. And they got all the fucking cement off of there. They got his coffin. And the crazy thing is, because they had cemented over his coffin, his body didn't decompose naturally. Yeah, because it was completely cut off from oxygen. It was sickly preserved. His clothes were almost perfectly intact. And also the fucking shit that we've been talking about through this whole episode, his mustache, still there, still right there. Oh yeah. It was definitely him. They positively ID'd it as being H.H. Holmes by his teeth. And they later reburied him, but it was so gross. I was so involved in seeing the story. It was just they opened up his casket and it was just goo. And yeah, because it couldn't go anywhere. It couldn't evaporate. The skin couldn't do its thing. It was a bunch of goo in the coffin. And it was all what happens to your body as it decomposes, but it's there in a goo form, jelly.
So they buried two coffins. One is a fake out coffin. Yeah, a decoy or whatever. Yeah. You open it up and you're like, damn, somebody already beat us to this.
Somebody beat me. Yep, they did.
So they wasted money on this motherfucker.
Yeah, they did.
I hope they spent his own money, actually.
I hope so too.
That would be fair.
I mean, either I hope that all of his money went to his first wife, who does have a kid or had a kid with him, because it was noted there that he had a kid. She had a kid with him, and they received all of his profits or whatever, or at least that money went to the victims or something somehow, because this man made tons of money off of all of these other people. Where did it go? I'm sure burying his dead ass underneath a bunch of cement didn't cost that much.
No.
Pine box and into the ground you go.
No, but more energy and any kind of extra cost on this motherfucker. I mean,
yeah.
But whatever. Okay, so they did do it, and they did do a decoy. So they must have known that, yeah, people were going to try to exhume his body, and they didn't want that nuisance, because that's illegal too.
Right. Believe it or not, they were already hip to grave robbers, even though he was taking it to a whole new extreme. So yeah, they did that, which I think is pretty interesting. Maybe he swindled somebody there at the jail too. I don't know. And was like, yeah, I need this and this. And they were like, yes, sir, Mr. Holmes, we're going to make it happen for you. I don't know.
Yeah. He's such a smooth talker that he seems like he can convince anybody to do things.
H.H. Holmes fan club. I'm surprised they didn't make him shave that shit off though in prison. I guess back then
that would have broke his heart.
I know, right?
Can you imagine? That was a punishment. So they exhumed his body just to make sure he was really down there. Yes, they wanted to make sure that he hadn't actually escaped death because he was such a smooth talker. Maybe he had convinced somebody else to take his spot. But that's why I was so involved in this. Like I said, it was kind of like my Super Bowl. I was eating popcorn and dip and buffalo dip and whatever. Is it him? Is it him? Oh, it's him. Patriots won again. Fuck. We kind of already knew that was going to happen. But yeah, so it was him. So back to 1914, the Chicago Tribune reported the death of Keeneland. Now, I haven't even brought him up in the story yet, but he was actually taking care of the castle, known as the caretaker. His death would be, I guess, unexplained to some degree. Keeneland, I think is how you say his name. I want to say Quinoa because it's Quinlan. So we'll go with Keeneland. He committed suicide by taking strychnine. His body was found in his bedroom with a note that read, I couldn't sleep. Keeneland's surviving relatives claimed he had been haunted for several months and was suffering from hallucinations. The castle itself was mysteriously gutted by fire in August of 1895.
And according to newspaper clipping from the New York Times, 2 men were seen entering the back of the building between 8 and 9 p.m. About a half an hour later, they were seen exiting the building and rapidly running away. Following several explosions, the castle fucking went up in flames. Afterward, investigators found a half-empty gas can underneath the back steps of the building. The building somewhat survived the fire, though it was totally torn down in 1938. The site is now occupied by the Inglewood branch of the United States Postal Service.
So do you think that it was H.H. Holmes who had set up all this kind of like get rid of the evidence type situation?
No, I think that he had a lot of shit going on in the house that actually, you know, if something was left somewhere, it could have, I mean, he had poison, gases. He had all sorts of shit down there that could have gone up in flames. I think it's possible that people went and once they found out what a real monster he was, that they didn't want the fucking neighborhood turning into a circus. And they were like, we're going to fucking take care of this problem right now. Yeah. And because people were already getting interested in it, you know, back in the 1800s, they probably had the Ted Bundy girlfriends just like they do now, you know, for Ted Bundy, basically. H.H. Holmes, people were like, oh, I want to see. So they were just like, nope, we're going to cut this shit right off. And they went and took care of it. I just think, I wish I had more information on Keeneland because it seems like him staying in that place, he was starting to feel the effects of some maybe ghostly experiences and he couldn't take it anymore. Like he said, he couldn't sleep, and his relatives he had already told them how he was being haunted for months and he was seeing things. They claimed that they were hallucinations, but they had no other way of explaining, you know, what he was telling them. So I think shit was going on there that he was seriously bothered by, and it made him take his own life, which is really sad. You know, I wish that he would have moved out, told his story, got a book deal, and became a rich man off of it, but it didn't work out for him.
It's probably got to do with like realizing that you worked for a monster as well, and that you had some part in this devastation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that really ate at him. So it was guilt as well as being in the place that had experienced all that pain and that bad energy.
Yeah. And I mean, when you say it like that, you can kind of see where that's why he took his life. You feel bad for the man in some degree, but he, you know, as you said, if he was involved, he probably felt like he either had it coming, you know, and that was the easiest answer for him. Mm-hmm. Maybe they didn't have good therapists back then. I don't know.
Oh, I'm certain they didn't.
You know, they didn't have good. I mean, if this guy was going around posing as a doctor, so.
Yeah, and it's the time like where they were still like, you know, sticking ice picks in people's eyes to try to help them and stuff like that, lobotomies and yeah. I'm certain talking things out really weren't.
No. You're absolutely right.
The protocol back then.
No, and Chicago had a pretty. They had a messed up asylum as well, so he probably just didn't want to have to talk to anybody. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that. Yep. That was his only way out, was to commit suicide. If he talked to somebody, then you're right. Ice baths and shock treatment, ice pick to the eye. Nope. That sounds like torture. Which is weird because that's what Holmes was doing. Anyway, I have a quote from the devil himself.
H.H. Holmes? Or the actual devil? Oh, okay.
Oh. You know, H.H. Holmes. My bad.
Got it.
I have a quote from H.H. Holmes. And it goes, I was born with the very devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer. No more than the poet can help the inspiration to song, nor the ambition of an intellectual man to be great. The inclination to murder came to me as naturally as the inspiration to do right comes to the majority of persons. End quote. And I, what else would a psychopath say?
Oh, what a dude.
I know. What a douche.
Yeah. I mean, like, a douche, really. Like, you can't even take ownership of your own fucking flaws and failures.
No.
You're not supposed to kill people, motherfucker. So, right. I mean, like, you can't blame that on somebody else. You did that.
You did that. You're exactly right. I think that this was at his moment of when he was starting to realize that he was becoming this monster that he was all along. But in his mind, it was actually Satan taking over him. As he said, while he was in jail, he started to even, his appearance was even changing to this grim, monstrous being. And I don't know if that means that he was just finally seeing himself for the first time.
That is possible for sure. But I mean, also just wonder if someone that had eluded capture for so long and had participated in these murderous activities for so long and didn't seem to bother him at all until he was caught. Now he's like, oh, Satan made me do it. It's not me. I mean, like, if he thought that would get him out of trouble in some way, like they would just send him off to get help, or if he was seriously finally like letting everybody know I was doing this for Satan all along. You know, you'll never get a straight answer from him because he's a pathological liar. So, I mean, like, you'll never know if he worshiped Satan all along and this was his goal, or if it was just what he threw out there in the very end to try to get out of trouble.
You know, most people, when they go to jail, they do something called repent for their sins, and they usually turn to God and they become very spiritual, you know, and they talk about Jesus and praying and the Bible. This guy did the complete opposite. He's just like,
but was he screaming out to Christian groups to like come help convert him? Or was he just like, hail Satan and moving on? You know, I mean, like, I'm going to go out with a bang if I'm going to go out.
I actually wonder if this was like a last ploy at manipulation to try and say, no, I'm not in my right frame of mind. I'm crazy, and maybe I should end up in a crazy house where he would then again manipulate.
Yeah. So he's like, it wasn't me. It was Satan the whole time.
Yeah.
So if a good Christian group wanted to step up to the challenge to try to convert me and cleanse me of these issues, then let's do that. And then nobody jumped on that bandwagon. They're like, yeah, okay, you and Satan can go to fucking hell. Bye.
Right. I mean, we've had plenty of people like that through time. I mean, David Berkowitz was one of those who, the Son of Sam killer. You remember?
That's what I was trying to think of, and I was I was afraid I was gonna fuck up his name. But when he was when there was a demonic presence that caused him to do his deeds, and then later on he's like, just playing. That wasn't really true at all.
Playing.
I just made that up. You just made that up to get somebody's attention and to hope that some Christian group would step up to the challenge, or any kind of religious group would step up to the challenge and try to convert you and heal you of your demonic ways or whatever.
You would get a lesser sentence either way.
Yeah, like that you're crazy or
you're not in your right frame of mind.
Could you imagine if H.H. Holmes went to an insane asylum? Everybody's life insurance policies would be signed over to him.
Oh my God, for sure. So I don't have any more of his story. That's pretty much it. What I have now is some of the hauntings of the postal office that I referred to in the very beginning of my story.
Love it.
So during the filming, the Hauntings of Chicago, which was for PBS station WYCC, I don't know, some local Chicago station, postal employees on staff at the Inglewood branch of the United States Postal Service were interviewed. Several employees attested to strange goings-on in the building, especially in the basement, where we need to get our P.O. box, which is believed to share a foundational wall of the original castle. One employee shared a chilling story of hearing a sound in the basement, and poking her head around the corner to see if a colleague was there, she called out to her, but she got no answer. She saw nothing down the hallway but a row of chairs that were lined up against a wall. A minute later, when she returned to the hallway, the chairs had all been stacked on top of each other.
Nope.
I know. When shit like that happens, you think of horror movies and what happens next. And that's it was something you don't want to have to deal with.
I hope her way out of the basement wasn't having to pass those chairs. I'd be leaning all up against the wall. Excuse me.
walking through.
Whatever. I'm just trying to get out of here.
Other employees have seen the apparitions of a young woman in the building and also along the grassy property where the castle once stood. Also, so this is one of those you might just be able to like camp outside. And
just wander around like a park, it sounds?
Yeah.
Or an open area?
No, it's an open area. It seems like it's actually in a downtown area because when I found out that you had to park on the street, it's like, man, I hate that. You have to park on the street. I hope it's like at least paid for parking. It's probably like they've got 5 open spots for the postal office and then you have to pay for parking everywhere else. So it seems like it's actually a pretty part of town. So we might have to pay to park. Oh, and also sounds of a woman singing or humming has been heard in various parts of the current building. Another story I came across while doing my research is a little bit more disturbing than chairs, I guess, being stacked up while you're just like walking around.
Oh, I was thinking more disturbing than murder.
Oh, no. That's why I had to clarify. We're still in the paranormal part.
Gotcha. Just the ghost stuff.
Right. There's this chick that worked at the post office, and while she was sorting mail, she heard about the crawl space in the basement. Yes, apparently there's a crawl space in the basement. She's totally into weird, creepy things. So she says she went to find the crawl space and crawled in it just a little way.
No. God, she's got balls of steel, man.
No, because I would have been like, there it is, taking as many pictures as possible, and I'm out. That's my style of researching crawl spaces in a basement of a former castle. While she was crawling into the basement, like she didn't go too far, but all of a sudden she comes across this old glass bottle, and she collects unusual and vintage things as well as one-of-a-kind items. So when she found this, she was like, oh, yes, my new treasure. So she took it home. She set it up on a shelf with like other personal treasures that she found. She either collected from thrift stores or yard sales, wherever. Shortly after she brought the bottle home, bad things started to happen to her. She says that another presence was in her home, and oftentimes she would see him, but she would black out.
Whoa.
Yeah. The last encounter that she had, she recalls taking a shower. Then suddenly, through her shower curtain, she would see an image of a person in her bathroom. She got really scared, and the next thing she knew, she was laying on her bathroom floor in a pool of blood.
No.
She came through like hours later, and she started discussing like her blackouts and stuff with a neighbor and told her about all of it, told her everything that had gone on there. She decided to bring the bottle back to the post office and put it back in the crawl space. And she allegedly hasn't had any further paranormal experiences in her apartment since. I will add that she also quit working at the post office. So that was that story. And one of the most compelling stories that I have, I found actually belongs to the experiences of one of Holmes's own descendants, Jeff Mudgett himself. He visited the site numerous times since discovering the gruesome ancestor in his family line. Like, this dude is like, he's on the girl fan page too. But he's like attempting to make peace, you know, with the dreadful reality of his life. Mudgett wrote the book called Bloodstains, which is a heartfelt journey through his revelations and remembrances and his hopes to help heal the family lines with his grandfather's victims. Good luck with that, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm totally thinking that too. Like, part of me is kind of like, yeah, or you're just trying to make some money off of your family name there.
I don't know. You know what it reminds me of? You remember the story I did about the cannibals in Fiji?
Right.
And they were like, we're tired of all of this bad shit, so here's a bunch of whale's tooths, and we're going to let go a bunch of balloons in honor of this guy who we, you know, it could be that sort of like he feels compelled to try and make peace with this, or he wants a book deal out of it, and he got a book deal out of it. So
yeah,
who knows?
I mean, like, I don't know what it would feel like to find out that you're related to some mass, I was going to say huge murder, not even mass, whatever's bigger than mass, like a mega murderer, like a dark ass motherfucker. Do people judge you by your name and think that you have some kind of tendencies as well, or have some kind of, oh, that blood is tainted type situation? In that case, I mean, I can understand trying to therapy that shit out and write a book and talk about it and just open people's minds up and apologize for something you didn't even do.
I think for him, I mean, the fact that his last name is Mudgett, it makes it a little bit harder for him to just go through life without being looked at twice. You know, like someone's going to recognize that name and be like,
yeah, it's a unique name.
Sounds familiar, you know? Holmes is actually a pretty cool name. You know, if your last name is Holmes, it might be H.H. Holmes, but it is a common name, right? But Mudgett itself, because I just told you, but that was his actual name. If you have any familiarity with the story, you're gonna recognize that, and you're gonna think twice about it. Maybe not if you're not familiar with it, or I mean, maybe you're just cashing this guy's checks. You're not gonna think twice about it.
No, you'd have to know his story to really recognize that name and stuff. But it is a unique name, so you're not going to hear it and think, "Oh, there's tons of those names out there." No, there's not. So you're like, yeah. And can I trust you? You know,
right? Exactly.
You might question this person, and if he wants to talk about it so that he feels better about his family heritage, and it's not just tainted with this one bad person, then I can understand that. It's fine. I'm not judging anybody. I don't know you.
No, and maybe he just used this whole thing so that he could have access to the basement at the post office.
I would do that too.
I mean, maybe he's just as kooky as us, and he's just like, what do I got to do to get into that place? So Jeff first visited the site of the murder castle. Employees of the Inglewood post office told him in regards to the basement, don't go down there, man. It's a terrible haunted place. Like, those were their exact words. Of course he went because,
his whole purpose of being there.
Right, exactly. He's like, that's okay, guys. I totally want to go. During his time alone, Jeff experienced severe physical and emotional effects from his visit. He says that, and I quote, "Before I walked down those steps, I was a non-believer. Absolute non-believer. I would have walked into any building in the world. An hour later, when I came out, my whole foundation had changed. I was a believer." I don't know what happened to him other than it was a very emotional experience, and he didn't believe in ghosts prior to that, but something happened, maybe a row of fucking chairs. Because, I mean, if you're a non-believer and that shit happens, what else? How else can you, I didn't take any drugs before I came down here. I didn't have any drinks. How else could you explain that? So maybe he saw a shadow person, because other people have reported seeing shadow people. I don't know. And I haven't read this man's book either. So,
I wonder if he explains it in more detail and he's less vague. I imagine he would in his book. That was just to get like a teaser to get.
Yeah, right. Get my book.
But yeah, if you're a complete non-believer and then something happens that you know you didn't cause it to happen and there's no other explanation for it, it doesn't even have to take something as extreme as the chair stacking up. He could have went down there and, I was going to say hear a voice, but people make so many excuses for those. But you know what I mean. Anything could have happened and he was like, my whole life has changed.
Yes. I like to think that because he is a descendant, that somehow he was recognized. He went down there into the basement, and one of these spirits that was murdered by Holmes himself sort of recognized this in Jeff, and maybe was just horrified that he was there. That just tortured him the moment he went down the stairs. You know, I would like to. I mean, I would like to. I say that I would like to think that, but it's really nothing. It's not Jeff's fault. But the fact that he was so vague about his experience down there, like, it's what happened to you? Was it horrifyingly bad? I mean, the postal people were just like, dude, please just don't go down there. It's a terrible, terrible place. And he's like, no, it's cool. I'm going down there. He went down there with this arrogant way. I'm this guy. I'm writing a book, and all I want to do is make peace. Maybe some bad shit happened to him down there.
I wonder if he just went down there and got like a super awful feeling as well.
Yeah, it could be. Like I said, I have no idea. Just speculating.
Like he went down there and had flashes of being.
Yeah. I've seen stories like that too, where people are related and they can just, like you said, they see like these images of things that had happened. So, Wendy, if we are ever in Chicago, and I feel that our interests will one day bring us both there someday.
Oh, yes.
we got to go to the post office. And
mail some postcards. Isn't that what you're supposed to do when you're out of town? Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. And maybe we can open up our Paranormal Podcast P.O. box while we're down there in the basement.
We get all our mail sent to Chicago. We better make a friend to send it to us.
I mean, I got some family members that are relatively close by. I just don't know how close they are to Inglewood. So like, can you please drive to this post office where I don't think
sort
you can
our
get
mail
a
for
spot?
us?
No. But anyways, I thought that was a cool story. I've been wanting to talk about H.H. Holmes since we started this podcast. So there it is. I finally did it. And if you didn't know the story before, now you know most of it. I did leave out some of the things because I have to try and wrap this up at least in an hour so that I can tell you about the haunting.
More like 2 hours, but
right. Try so hard not to make it that long, but it's an interesting story. So there it is. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Done.
Like I said in the beginning, I'm so proud of you for doing this. I am so super stoked because, like we've both said, we watch true crime TV shows, CSI type TV shows, and listen to podcasts and stuff like that. We've heard of H.H. Holmes before. He's a fascinating character, and the shit that he pulled off is ridiculous and horrible. And the fact that you found a haunted element to tie it into this podcast, I'm so proud of you because I would have just seen him as a straight, murderer. He's a serial killer, a sociopath. He's a horrible ass fucking person, and not necessarily falls under paranormal terms until you get to pull in the post office. So I appreciate you finding that element so that we can sit here and talk about him, because that story's always been impressive to me, just how he got away with shit for so fucking long and just how arrogant he was and how people fell for that. I mean, like, that kind of personality, you don't want to meet that person, but you also want to maybe witness that event, and just so you can really understand how the fuck did that happen. And more, not in a like, I'm so impressed, I want to learn his ways. No, more like, I want to make sure I never fall for this kind of shit. What is he saying that he's convinced all these people to sign their life away to him? It's a survival. It's wanting to survive, so you want to understand. It's not like I'm fascinated, he's a fucking genius, I
know. Could you imagine if this guy had held like classes or podcasts himself, like how to not be seduced by my kind of creep? He would have made a fortune.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had to kill people. He could have stayed at home and just cut chickens up. Like, dead chickens already. Something.
Right, not the live ones.
Yeah. Well, no, I guess you could do that too, right?
Chickens are food.
Yeah.
So,
have a self-sustaining farm that would have got your blood murder tendencies out. Yeah, you could have been a butcher and then had a podcast on telling people how smart you are, because you apparently thought you were super devious and smart.
Right. Super devious and smart. He was.
And you could have just stayed home and left people alone.
I know. Please don't go out killing people. That's not cool. Be smart. Go on and be a lawyer or a podcaster like other smart people do. They don't have to kill people. They just kill fucking stories. Boom. Boom. Okay. I'm a little bit arrogant too.
But you keep it at home. You don't go and bother people with that. So except for these podcasts.
I hate leaving home. So that's why I do a podcast. So that's it. Yeah. I'm glad you like it, Wendy, because I wanted to tell you at the very beginning of the story, since we were doing like announcements and stuff, happy birthday, since this is your birthday week. Happy birthday. I'm doing a story on H.H. Holmes, but I couldn't actually tell you that. So
I love this. This was a great gift to me.
This is your gift. I did a story on H.H. Holmes for you.
I appreciate it. He's one of my favorite serial killers.
I know. Mine too. So I hope you other listeners out there enjoyed that as well. If you do, then write us an email. If you don't, then keep that shit to yourself. But you can also write us an email. We just want to share it with everybody. Email us at creaturesofthenightparanormal@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook. Wendy loves that shit, and it's her birthday, so give her some love.
Oh, we love Twitter. We did a Twitter now too, right?
Yes, I totally started that up, and I'm like trying so hard to backtrack. I've got to like post something every day, and it's like draining me mentally.
Yeah,
I'm
why can't there be an app that like you just put a post in and it'll just shoot it out to all your social medias?
You know
Does
what?
that exist? Because every time I think something doesn't exist, it actually does. So
I finally got Instagram working. So now it's actually like shooting stuff to Facebook, but it won't shoot stuff to Instagram because I remember I sent you a picture of some guy who had tried to fraud me on Instagram. So he had got my account and it's like a Chris something Arabic wording.
You mean Twitter, but yes.
Oh, did I say? Oh, but
yeah.
It's through Instagram. I could link it to Twitter, but it won't link to the Creatures of the Night on Twitter. It links to his account on Twitter. And I don't want him to get all our cool stuff.
What is he doing with our account? What a rando account to take over.
Right. I can't do that. Right. It's not like I had I'm not famous or anything. I don't know why he totally took over my account. So.
No, I'm not smart enough to understand where the scam is in all of this.
Right. Maybe these are just some H.H. Holmes wannabes, and this is what they have to do.
This is what it's elevated to.
Right.
Like, I'm sure people still fraud insurance companies all the time, but
sure, yeah.
I imagine that's made increasingly harder. So now there's just lazy ass people sitting at their computer breaking into people's Twitter's account. But I don't know how that benefits you. They're gonna murder you one day.
Right. Joke's on you. I don't talk to people.
We're not famous. Only our families listen to this podcast.
Right? Oh, that's kind of sad. But I love my family, and I love your family because they are our biggest supporters.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to buy so many T-shirts.
No. I know, right? Well, that's all I got anyways. So
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for my birthday present of H.H. Holmes. Yay. Paranormal story.
Right?
Tying in the ghost. I love it. And yeah, we have all those forms of social media. Please contact us. We love talking to you. And if you've got something negative to say, would you please email us instead? No, it's fine. It's fine if you don't want to. You know, we don't get our feelings hurt super quick, so we can handle it. We're big girls. But yeah, the world has made us that way. But hey, we are also open to criticism. We love constructive criticism. So if you know something, if you're listening to our podcast, but you're like, damn, I just wish that they would fix this or not do that or something like that, then tell us, man. We would love some help. This is a group effort here. We're all creatures of the night. We all enjoy paranormal. You wouldn't be downloading this if you weren't into some kind of paranormal activity. So if there's something that we could do better for you to keep you downloading episodes, to get you to subscribe, to get you to review, then let us know. And you could do that publicly, or you could be nice and you could do it privately. So email us, man, and tell us what you would like to hear. And if you got stories to share, that's awesome as well. We'll share them on the podcast unless you tell us not to.
Right.
Which is just weird. Why are you emailing us if you don't want us to share it?
Right, exactly. Totally. We can do that anonymously, just let us know.
But yeah. Please let us know, or we will spew your name all over the place unless we can't pronounce it. That happens. That does happen.
That happens a lot. Yeah, and if I'm saying Keeneland wrong, let us know. We can have a corrections corner
future
podcast,
episode.
10 episodes from now.
Anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us on this murderous paranormal podcast.
So thank you so much. That was it. Good night, guys, or good morning, guys, whatever.
Bye.
Bye.